Thank you. It's torture to hear my own biography in English, never mind in another language. That is too long, and who cares? How's everybody's English, by the way? Just stare at me blankly if you totally understand what I'm saying. Great, great. Well, then I'll tell a lot of jokes then. They don't understand me, do they? Do you understand me? Yes. Okay, don't worry. We have our actress. Thank you very much for coming on tonight, and it's a great pleasure to be here. I second everything that Stephen says, and I third it as well. I'll read a poem now. This is called My 100-Year-Old Ghost, and it's about nostalgia. My 100-year-old ghost sits up with me when the power cuts, tells about the trout at Unkie's Lake, the woodhouse burned on the hill. He says he was intimate with every leaf of grass, wore one hat for Griswold, another for his own field. The possibilities of the century laid out an endless string of fishing pools, but they never got ahead of my ghost. He took them like cows, one at a time, never lusted for the color of trout in a pool a mile away. He knew from the smoke in the sky Mrs. Johnson was starting supper, and in March, when the candles appeared, he knew Bobby's boy had died. My ghost only ever had one bar where the keeper didn't water his drinks, nor did he feel the need to hide his moth cap, his potato clothes, or scrub himself birth pink. My ghost tells me there was a time you'd look out and not find a Dairy Queen. You could sit on your porch a whole life, he said, and never think about China. Sometimes I see my ghost bringing cut sunflowers to his wife, and it seems so simple. Then sometimes it is dark, he's just in from work, and Griswold says they ain't going to raise his pay. And even back then, the power went out, long nights when they had no kerosene. And my ghost tries to sell me on simpler times, the grass soft, endless, lampless nights, pools of crickets singing.
Thank you. Стои буден с мен, когато токът спира, разказва за пастървата в езерото наЪнки. Дървената къща изгоря на хълма. Той казва, че познаваше интимно всичко, всяко стръкче трева, носеше една шапка на Гризволд, друга за собствената си нива, възможностите на всяка наредени, безкрайна нишка, рибарски гьолове, но те никога не изпреварваха моя призрак. Той ги приемаше като крави, една по една. Никога не лъмтеше за цвете на пастърва в гьол, намира далечина. Знаеше от дима в небето, госпожа Джонсън правеше вечеря и през март, когато се появяваха свещите, знаеше момчето на Боби беше починал. Моят призрак ходеше само в един бар, където собственикът не му разреждаше напитките. И когато не изпитваше нужда да крие всяка преядена шапка, своите изтъркани дрехи или че не е изкъпан като бебе. Моят призрак ми разказва, че беше време, когато гледаш навън и не виждаш щанд за сладолет. Че можеш да седнеш цял живот на своята веранда, без никога да мислиш за Китай. Понякога виждам моя призрак да носи букет слънчогледи на жена си и всичко изглежда толкова просто. После, понякога е тъмно. Той тъкмо се прибира от работа. Казва, те няма да му вдигнат заплатата. И дори още тогава токът спираше. Дълги нощи, които нямаха керосин, и моят призрак опитва да ме спечели за по-прости времена. Тревата, мека, безкрайна, нощи без лампи.
That feels about 3 times as long in Bulgarian. Thank you. This one's short. Don't blink or you'll miss it. Oregon Trail. October, still the west is open. Tonight sleep, tomorrow wake, and still the west. We'll send colors, postcards of nothing, of range and empty pink, postcards of more west. Wake and still October, the west open, pink.
Октомври. Западът е все още достижим. Тази вечер спиш. Утре се събуждаш и отново на запад. Ще изпратим цветове, картички от нищо. На пазбище и празно, розово, картички от още запад. Събуждаш се и още октомври. Западът достижим. Пинк.
Is pink in Bulgarian?
Розово.
Thank you. This next poem, Virginia Woolf. Everybody knows Virginia Woolf, I think. Yeah?
Virginia Woolf.
Virginia Woolf. How do you say it in Bulgarian? Virginia Woolf. I like to think. I like to think if I ever met Virginia Woolf, we would have dated. It would have been good. She might not have killed herself. That's my fantasy. Indulge me for a minute. This is called Waiting for the Ocean. Cover myself in blankets of dust. Cover myself in a second-hand poncho Virginia Woolf could have worn, with her pockets turned inside out, the light tongues of fabric licking the salted California sun. It can take some time, and she keeps saying she was drawn to me. There is an attic of time which I hide in, time where we walk blank beaches that never get cold, visit bright houses which cast no shadows onto pink shores. We pause on the coast. Her hands freckle and brown, and her hair lightens a little. People say to her, "You look good." And I say, "The chairs were flying, they aimed for my head." And I say I was drawn to you by the chairs, and she understands and never calls the weather mundane or melodramatic. And the ocean stays in front and below, unknown and living with us.